House in Baltimore and WNST.net. If you are watching on Facebook Live, we are live at the Mall of America. We are in Minnesota. It's 10 degrees outside. It's about 72 and sort of kind of normal in here. Luke Jones riding shotgun, of course, back from Oriole Fan Fest, which was at a convention center. Luke, generally we have these things at convention centers, but this Super Bowl here in Minnesota is a little different than the other Super Bowls. And
it's incredible. I mean, it's the Mall of America. I've never been here before. I've heard all the stories, but I mean, this thing is massive, and I've only seen like a fraction of it.
It's vast.
I'm hoping to be able to actually cover all of it over the course of the week, and I don't know if that's going to happen.
You're on the third floor, just so you know.
Yeah.
Just making sure you know.
Yes. I do remember going up some escalators.
I want to thank all of our new sponsors. First off, big shout out. I mean, we got a bunch of new sponsors. I'm making a huge announcement on Friday morning out on the website and here at WNST.net. My wife will be with me as well, coming out to Minnesota. It's all brought to you by Howard Bank. They've stepped up. You're going to be hearing and seeing more about Howard Bank, including the hat on my head here. They are a presenting sponsor for all Super Bowl 52 coverage. I want to thank Marianne, Wade, Chris, everybody over there. The relentless commitment to be the best at everything they do. And I'll be telling you more about that at Howard Bank. Also, Royal Farms back with us. I think it's 18 years, 19 years, my 25th Super Bowl. Royal Farms been to most of them. I could use a little cup of their coffee around here to caffeinate me. And we're in the Mall of America, and they still don't have better fried chicken than they do at Royal Farms. Real fresh, real fast. There's one right around the corner from you. Make sure you're checking out the app there as well. We're going to be promoting that. I'm going to be using that myself, the Rofo Rewards card, to get your fried chicken for free. Also, Pizza John's. I do not have my cup in front of me, but I will. Big thanks to our friends down in Essex and Pete and everybody down there for taking us under their wing. I've been eating pizza there all my life. Very, very happy to be bragging on Pizza John's here down on Back River Neck Road. Stop down there, 50 years. And the Maryland Jockey Club, big appreciation for everyone out there at South Sinatra. Everyone will be telling you about the Preakness. I watched the racing, the big day at Gulfstream on Saturday with Lafitte Pinkai and those folks. We'll be getting them on as we get closer to Preakness as well. So big thanks to Laurel and the Maryland Jockey Club. All right. Minnesota. You want to do Orioles or you want to do Minnesota? What do you want to do right now?
Let's talk Minnesota first, because Orioles are just going to bum me out.
You know what? Can I get my Pizza John's drink? And if I can do that, I will be glad to tell the story because I am a little parched. So, yeah. So, anyway, I got my Pizza John's.
See, the drink's great. I wish you were bringing a Pizza John's pizza. But that's I'll just have to wait to get home.
That's like trucking Coors.
They don't deliver at home. They're certainly not going to bring it out to Minnesota.
Big thanks, Pizza John's. And my wife, by the way, sent me a picture, literally, that I will show on the internet. And I'm going to show this to the camera for those of you who are watching. My wife sent me a picture. Tell everybody what that is a picture of before I show it.
That is glorious.
That is the leftovers right there from my Pizza John's experience on Saturday, and I ate all of my Pizza John's because I wanted that left. Look at that. That's just a picture of a picture. That's not bad. She doesn't get green peppers on her, so it's not as.
I'm meat sauce and pepperoni.
But cheers. So I want to tell a story, and I'm going to turn a little bit because I have been to this space several times. So everyone you meet in Minnesota, they're all what they call Minnesota nice, right? Which that's flippant. That means they're not nice. That
means disingenuous, right?
Disingenuous, yeah. Correct, right. So they're not Minnesota nice. They're just nice in Minnesota, and it's 10 degrees, and they see we have a press pass, and they see that we're from somewhere else. So they start in on where you're from and what you're doing here as I spill my my drink everywhere. So I'll just call it the IKEA because that's what it is. It's fair enough. I was going to call it the Swedish Botchain. Sure. It's out the door here, and that space, according to Chris Pike, and it is true, was the Met Center. Famous for what movie? You remember?
I don't know. What movie?
Mighty Ducks.
Oh, never
Mighty
mind.
Ducks.
I was thinking, yes.
The Mighty Ducks was filmed in
Mike Madonna.
Mike Madonna came out, right? And all that was there. So in 1990,
Coach Gordon Bombay. I love that movie. See, everyone's like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about."
You didn't play any hockey.
I just said I love Mighty Ducks, though. The Flying V? Are you kidding me?
You're the right age.
Adam Banks.
My kid loved that.
Charlie Conway.
He was like your age.
Goldberg, the goaltender.
How many times have you seen a Mighty Ducks?
Oh, way too many times.
Really? And it never inspired you to be a hockey fan, ever?
Not really.
That's a bummer for hockey.
I don't hate hockey. It's just
I always feel like you're missing out on something not being a hockey
We've
guy
talked about this before. It's all about how you were raised. My dad was not a hockey fan. Thus, I never became a hockey fan.
I wasn't raised eating raw fish, but I eat it now. You know what I mean?
You eat raw?
Yes.
I actually like sushi a little bit, too.
There's a little poke around the corner. By the way, at the Mall of America, we get anything we want.
Oh, there's everything
All
here.
right, so,
anyway.
So here's the story. So in 1991, in the fall of 91, you can look this up, the Houston Oilers were very, very good. And they started the year like 7-0, 8-1. They lost the game at RFK Stadium when Ian Howfield missed a field goal. And I was a huge Houston Oiler fan, right? I mean, like,
love you, Blue.
Love you, Blue. Love you, Blue. And
heard you say that before.
The year they lost the Bills game was the next year. That was the year the Super Bowl was like at the Rose Bowl.
It was Pasadena, yeah.
Pasadena year. This was a year where I don't know who they lost. They lost Seattle or Pittsburgh. They lost somebody. Go look that up. Maybe it wasn't Buffalo though. I don't think that was a different year. That year, I went to John Stedman. And I wanted to go to the Super Bowl. It was my dream, and this will wax poetic, and you understand where I would come from because you came into this business through the side door. I've been doing it since I was 15. So I came in through the side door at 15 in 1984, and in 1992, John Stedman, I'd finally had like enough money to have a car, to get in the car and drive it somewhere. The game wasn't in California. And Steady had always said, whenever you want to go to a Senor, you ever want to go to a Super Bowl, you just say the word. For you. For you, I'll get you tickets. Don't worry about it. I got friends in the league offices. And he always said the league.
The league.
Yeah. League.
Sounds about right.
League. Stedman. So the Oilers started the year, and I was convinced, like, they didn't go this year. They didn't go the year before. They didn't go the year before. They didn't go in the past arena years. I'm like, this is the year. And it's in Minnesota, and I can drive to Minnesota, and they're going to be in it. I'm Steady, they're going to be in it. Will you get me tickets? Senor, consider it done. So, Steady gets me the tickets in early November. Senor, I'm going to need a cashier's check for $125. True.
That might get you a parking pass at the Super Bowl now. Maybe. Maybe.
So Stedman gets me the tickets. The Oilers lose that game. I don't have the season in front of me. I could wiki it, but clearly they didn't make it here. Right? But I had 2 tickets to the Super Bowl in my hands, done, and then I had to get a hotel room, and I had no money, right? I mean, I'm living on Kane Street. Everybody, would know my background. We partied a little there. A little. In that era especially. So I had just purchased a Jeep Wrangler with the flappy. I was at the beach the summer before, and somebody had one, and I thought, great. Didn't think it would be great on a 10-degree day in Minnesota. So I took a career buyout. A lot happened between November and Martin Luther King holiday. And you can go back and do the math on this because I know this to be true. I don't need to look this up. So in 1992, November of 91, I went to work on a Sunday night, and the Baltimore Sun offered a buyout. A year's pay. I was 23 years old to leave the company and go do something else for a living. This is when the newspaper first started to shake. News American was gone. The Evening Sun was about to go.
Right.
They were doing away with the Evening Sun. And I wasn't the kind of guy they wanted to get rid of. I was making the least amount of money and was the youngest. But I was a swashbuckler. I wanted to go do something with my life. So I thought I was going to.
You said you're 23?
I was 23.
That's the time to do it if you're going to do it.
I was 23 years old. So I decided to take the buyout money, and I bought a bunch of DJ equipment, and I DJ'd parties, weddings, bar mitzvahs. At the same exact time, November of 91, Kenny Albert came to me and said, Nestor, going to be doing a talk show. You want to join me? My father might be involved. And I started doing radio with him as the Skipjacks writer. And between Thanksgiving weekend and Martin Luther King holiday, in that 8 weeks, I decided to leave the newspaper, take a check, drive to the Super Bowl, start doing this radio show with Kenny Albert that did not at all feel like what my 25th year coming to the Super Bowl would feel like. And I did all of this with my life without a job, right? I was just going to go walk the earth, DJ, write for the Towson Times and the Dundalk Eagle and the AP and anybody who would pay me $50. And I decided the last day of my employment was New Year's of that year. And on January the 15th or 16th, whatever that Friday was, or that Monday was, it was a holiday, I picked up my final paycheck, and it was a big check. It was a year's pay.
It's not bad.
And I put it in the bank, and I went back to Kane Street, and I loaded up the back of my Jeep, and I took all my CDs because I wanted to have good music for the ride. Because I had the little
CDs,
CD
what are
player,
those?
that the little faceplate that you pulled off, I had that in my stereo in my car. So we had like CDs to drive from Baltimore to Minnesota. But we didn't drive just from Baltimore to Minnesota, okay? We drove through Western Pennsylvania in January. All right? We drove all night. We left it at 7 at night, and we got to Chicago at 7 in the morning. And
how long is that drive? So
10,
so
11,
Baltimore to
9, 10, 11, 12,
all
depending if you drive. I would call it 10.
The longest drive I've done is like 8.
I would say it's 10. Some would say 11. Some would say 9. Some would say you're out of your mind. It's 10. So, if you left at 7 or 8 at night, you'd be there 6, 7, 8 in the morning, give or take.
Sure.
So, drove all night, stayed in a little Super 8 in Chicago, and that night I went to the Chicago Stadium to see the Bulls of Michael Jordan.
Of course.
Before Jordan was like really Jordan. It was 91, 92. He wasn't like he was
on the verge of winning his second title.
Okay, but like you could still get a ticket. I got a ticket.
Okay.
At the Chicago Stadium. I don't know who got it for me. I want to say Bill Free, the late great Bill. Maybe I'm crediting the wrong person, but someone knew someone that got me a ticket in the last row of the Chicago Stadium, center court. But I was on the roof, and we parked the car in that neighborhood in a way that I really didn't feel like my car was going to be there when I got back. I'm not going to lie to you. That was not a good neighborhood. And it was cold as hell. It was January in Chicago. So the game ends, and we spent the night in Chicago, and the next day, which was Wednesday. So we drove Monday night into Tuesday. Tuesday night, you can go look this up, Super Bowl week. Tuesday night, the Bulls played the Suns. The next day, we drove through an ice storm through Rockford, Illinois, home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Famers of Cheap Trick. Cheap Tricks from Rockford, Illinois. So we drove through Rockford, Illinois, and we got to Minnesota, and we did a doubleheader that night. Are you ready for this? The doubleheader was Wayne Gretzky's Los Angeles Kings were playing 100 yards from where we're sitting. Would you say? Maybe 200 yards? Where the IKEA is? Literally, right out the door. Yeah. Wayne Gretzky played the Mike Modano Minnesota North Stars.
That's pretty cool.
So I went to that game that night, and the same night we left after the first period because there was a little band playing at this new place downtown called the Target Center. It was this band led by this rambunctious rocker, and they were on the biggest tour of their career, the Use Your Illusion tour. Guns and Effing Roses was playing.
I was going to say, it better be something good if you left a Wayne Gretzky game after one period.
This was when Guns N' Roses was taking the stage whenever they wanted.
Right.
So for anyone out there that ever saw Guns N' Roses in that era, they never went on before 11 o'clock. And some nights they went on at 1 in the morning. This was one of those nights. And all I remember, and this is going to be politically incorrect, and it's not going to fit in with your image of the nice ladies of Minnesota, all I remember was the camera man at the Target Center was doing the old Preakness flash. And every woman in the upper deck was bearing the tatas at a Guns N' Roses concert. I'm telling a 1992 story here. How's your team? I got Eagles fans stopping by the set, so I want to give them all love, you know. What's happening? Seattle in the house as well. So I'm at the Guns N' Roses show. They go on. We were there 2 hours before they went on, and I left the hockey game early, right? I left. It might have been after the second, but I think it was the first.
So wait, if they don't play till 1, I assume they had at least a band or two opening for them, right? Like how long did they play?
No,
nothing.
It just was a bar for 3 hours,
right.
Which is why in that era the cameraman was zooming on people, and people were making funny faces before Kiss Cam was even big, right? So it was like people were giggling, and people were looking for something to do. This is not normal. They were on drugs, lots of drugs. They were on drugs. It's Guns N' Roses. John Clayton, were Guns N' Roses on drugs in 1992? Were Guns N' Roses on drugs in 1992? No, they were totally clean. All right. Well, there it comes. This is a journalist, too. There were no bullets in the gun. All right. If John Clayton says I've seen the commercials. You can believe it. So that's true. Thank you very much. Oh, you coming by? You want to visit?
They did not smoke the roses.
They did not smoke the roses. Thank you very much. So, this is only Wednesday night, okay? The room we had, I want to look the town up, and I got to get my Google map out. I think it was called Hastings, but I might be. I'm going to Google map it, and and I think the Super 8 might still be sitting there. It wasn't 30 miles away. It was 57 miles away. I mean, it was like I didn't have any money. It's 1992, man, and it was really far north of here. If I find the town that it was in, I will let you know. I mean, it wasn't hours away, but it was a long, long way on a farm road away, okay?
So a long drive and a boring drive.
And in the middle of the night at 2:30 in the morning after driving from Chicago for Guns N' Roses, and Wayne Gretzky. So Thursday, we came back down to the city, and this is where I'm going to, totally nerd out. And I think I've told you this story before, but it's my first Super Bowl. John Stedman's got me tickets. I'm so excited about being in Minnesota. It's friggin' cold. I'm in a car with no exterior. You know what I mean? It was so cold. It was just cold, right? So Thursday we came back down into the city, and that night the Timberwolves, who you can look it up, might have been a year or two old then, right? I mean, they were
sounds about right.
a very, very expansion. Kevin McHale may have had something to do with him then or whatever.
Somewhere like 88, 89, 90, somewhere around there is when I think they started.
Well, this is a 91-92 season. So
this was pre-Kevin Garnett.
Correct.
I mean, they were irrelevant.
They were bad
before
enough
then.
to get him.
Yeah.
They were bad enough to get him. So that Thursday night, we went down to the Target Center. They were playing the Detroit Pistons.
Okay.
Who were on the fading end of the bad boys.
Yeah.
So
the Bulls had surpassed them at that point.
So we go back to the Target Center where we were the night before for Guns N' Roses to see this thing. And I was a fan of whom then? Do you remember? My football team was?
Tennessee. Or the Houston Oilers.
Who would have been the Houston Oiler I would have wanted to meet in 1992? Who was my guy?
Warren Moon?
Warren Moon.
I mean.
So, Warren Moon was in the second or third row behind one of the benches, and they put the TV, the same camera that had boobies on it the night before, right, at a Guns N' Roses show. And I don't mean one set of boobies. I'm talking about these people in Minnesota.
So wait a second,
far
Booby
more
Cam
liberal.
went to Moon Cam.
These people here were far.
That was bad.
I got that.
that was terrible.
Far more liberal than maybe meets the eye. So I need to get a spit guard because I'm a mess. I'm so wicked hot. I got to here, take this one. Well, give me that one over there. There you go. It'll make
this is great radio.
It'll make the radio sound better. It's fine. People are used to my show sucking. It sucked for 25 years. If you're not gone by now, you're not leaving. I'm pretty convinced of that.
You're here for the duration.
I've done shows from bathtubs. I've done walkouts, walk-ins. I've written books. I've written pamphlets.
You okay now?
I sound a lot better on the radio, trust me, especially on AM. So, Thursday night, first quarter of the game, and there weren't a lot of people there, I remember going in and getting marketed by K-Fan, which I think still exists here, and they were a brand new all-sports radio station in Minnesota in 1992. And they were Super Bowl Wayne live from Hawaii, from the Big Rock. What's going on, my brother? So on this Thursday night, Super Bowl Wayne, the legend, stop by. We'll get you later on, Wayne. I'm in the middle of telling a story, so hang on. Telling a story about being old. You familiar with that? Many, many moons ago in a Super Bowl, many, many years ago. So that Thursday night, Warren Moon shows up on the screen, and I am like a rabid fanboy in heat, right? I'm literally wearing, and I'm not lying to you, I was wearing Mike Resigliano's red, white, and blue Zubaz. I looked like the Napoleon Dynamite. What was his name? Taekwondo, Rex Kwando.
Oh,
I look
Kip.
like I look like Rex Kwando.
Kip was taking the class. Yeah.
I was wearing Buffalo Bills Zubaz pants and a Zubaz Buffalo Bills hat. I wasn't even a Bills fan. I didn't even like the Bills. I was supporting the Bills because they were playing the Redskins, whom I loathe.
Of course.
It was 1992 in Baltimore.
Of course.
If you didn't hate the Redskins, get the hell out of our town.
Exactly.
So I was hating on the Redskins, wearing Bills gear and stalking literally. I mean, it's not a nice term in 2018 to say you stalk someone, but I stalked Warren Moon. And I was on the roof in the $4 tickets, and I went down to the floor, and I got a hold of Warren Moon, and I have what would now be called a selfie. But it was, hey, dude, will you take this picture of me and Warren Moon? Yeah, dude, I got it. And it's a little blurry. It's a little off. Warren looks like he was having a good time, even though he wasn't. I look like a Bills fan, even though I wasn't. And now when I see Warren Moon, I just apologize. You know what I mean? He comes in town for Seattle, and I just apologize to him. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I was an Oiler fan, and I was a goof. But I did get a picture of Warren Moon. So then Friday night, we came downtown to, participate in the Super Bowl thing. And I remember hitting on this girl from Peoria, Illinois, at a piano bar all night long. Didn't go anywhere. And we went in, and we came out, and it was like a foot of snow on the ground. It was this powder, 10-degree snow on the Friday night. And now I got to drive 57 miles to wherever the BFE was, but I did have four-wheel drive.
That's true.
I had four-wheel drive. So I drove 57 miles out, and I'm not kidding. I got out, and we weren't drinking. I mean, it wasn't one of those all night. I shouldn't have driven. It wasn't like that. We knew we had to drive. We knew we were somewhere weird. We knew we had Super Bowl tickets. We knew we didn't want to go to jail. We knew all that, but we got onto a freeway ramp, and there was literally a foot of snow, and I'm not kidding you. And I had 57 miles on this one-lane road. And you know what happens after you've been in a bar. What happens? You got to pee.
Of course.
So this is you're gonna love this story. So I get out to pee, and I did my business. And I peed down like an overpass. We pulled off. I peed down on the edge, and I had to.
This is great. This is award-winning radio here.
Dude, I got back up. I get back in the Jeep, and we drive back to the room. We were so paranoid about leaving our tickets in the room, we literally lanyarded them and wore them on the inside of our clothing all week, because we didn't want to lose them. This is how insane we were. It was our first Super Bowl, 23. I drove off. I'm telling Super Bowl.
It's like when someone has a money belt when they leave the country.
Well, this is how you felt about having a Super Bowl ticket in 1992 in Minnesota. So we didn't want to leave it in a room. We didn't leave it in a car. We didn't want to leave it anywhere where it was gold, right? You could have scalped it for $200 or $300 then. It was like gold. Cost $125. I still had the ticket. So we get back to the room, and the next morning we wake up, and we're having the free breakfast or whatever. We're going to drive back into the city Saturday. I don't even remember what the hell we did Saturday. I mean, it didn't occur to me. All I wanted to do was see Prince's pop-up concert that never happened, you know? So we look around, and I'm like, and this is before you had a digital camera. Your camera had film in it, all right?
Of course.
I'm looking for the camera because I was so excited about this Warren Moon thing that I think I wanted to take it to a 1-hour photo in Minnesota, because you have 1 hour photo, and I could get my picture with Warren. I really wanted to see it because you took it, and I'm like, did Dodo have his Barney Rubble thumb over it? You know what I mean? And you didn't take a safety back then because you only had 24 pictures. Maybe you only had 12. If you had 36, you were highfalutin. If you had 30, right? So remember this, okay? Mm-hmm. So, dude, this is the greatest story ever. I'm looking for the camera, and I can't find it. I'm looking everywhere for the camera, and I can't find it. And I'm like, did the chick from Peoria lift it from me? Did I? No, you took a picture with her, which I did. I took a picture with her, and I still have the picture with her in the bar. And I'm like, well, I had the camera in the bar. We couldn't find the camera. The picture of Warren Moon that I stalked was gone. The camera was gone. Gone. I have all of this crap that I loaded in the Jeep to take out, It's in the room. I'm going through stuff. I'm like, we had it in the bar. Let's get my picture of Warren Moon. Let's get my Warren Moon picture. Like, F the camera. It's a $200 camera. Let's get my picture of Warren Moon. Like, what the hell is my picture of Warren Moon? I stalked him. It had all of our pictures from the Chicago Stadium, like all the stuff we had done. And I'm like, I peed on that overpass. Do you remember where I peed? It was 3 o'clock in the morning. We got to go back. We got to find the spot I peed. So it's now daylight. The sun's out. It's sunny. The roads are a little plowed. It's 10 in the morning, and I am effing flipped out. And I thought the girl took the camera. I'm like, did I leave the camera in the bathroom? I didn't drink that much. What happened to the camera? We went back to the spot. We turned the car around. It was a ramp. It was an on-ramp. We pulled over all of my tracks. I'm the only guy that peed on the side of the highway off the side of the ledge. I went back, and the camera was sitting in the snow. And it was like, screw that Miracle 2 weeks ago. That Case Keenum. That was only the second Minnesota Miracle. The first Minnesota Miracle is I went back to that highway and I found my camera. I got my film. The picture of Warren Moon's a little out of focus. And I've shown it to Warren on my phone when I saw him in Seattle. So there. And then we went to the Super Bowl, and Thurman Thomas forgot his helmet, and the friggin' Redskins won. The only thing I remember about that game, I got there so early. We're so excited to be at a Super Bowl. And that's why part of this, when I'm here for the 25th year, and I see fans at the Mall of America get all geeked up, I did my first geeked up Super Bowl, chasing Warren Moon, seeing Guns N' Roses, seeing Boobies, seeing Wayne Gretzky, seeing Michael Jordan, doing the Great American Journey with my dear friend. And I have not plugged John Raffalides. So anybody out there that knows Johnny Raff, who was my roommate at the time, Johnny was my compadre who came with me, did all this stuff together with me, helped me stalk Warren Moon, will validate the camera in the snow story 1,000,000,000%. And then on Sunday we went to the game. I got there early, and all I remember is I walked in, and the Metrodome was airlifted, so you got pushed in and pushed out. Like the Pontiac Silverdome. Okay. You got shoved in and out of the door by air pressure.
Right.
So I got shoved into the Metrodome, and I had been to the Silverdome, and I had been to the Sky Dome at that point in my life. So it wasn't like my first dome.
Right.
But nobody was in the stadium. I mean, it was like they opened the gates at 2 for 6 o'clock game. We just wanted to get in there. It was cold out. What the hell, right? And the press box was open there. And my seats, tell me the guy that's connected. Stedman got these tickets from, like, Roselle. These tickets were on the 48-yard line, 25 rows off the field, 3 rows in front of the press box.
They $125, you said?
They were $75 on the roof. So I'm telling you, Stedman got me these tickets. And when I walked in, and Steve Sable, who became a friend, who's the reason I shoot NFL Network now, who came by and in Dallas and put me on the show. Steve Sable was a guy I knew from TV. Like, my dad loved Steve Sable. And Steve Sable was sitting in the press box, and it was open air. Like, you could reach up and shake his hand. And he was the only one in the press box at 2:05 when Fanboy, wearing his Zubaz Bills crud, is there hating on, Ernest Biner and...
Wait, how many days did you wear these pants?
They smelled like buffalo. They smelled like buffalo. So
I feel like you've worn these pants the entire trip.
I have. I rinsed them in the zinc.
You washed them out in the snow where you left your camera.
So I go to the game, and this is a fascinating story too, because 25 years later. So I'm literally on the 50-yard line. This is before like skyboxes were so big. Like now all these stadiums, celebrities. In my section that day Nat Moore, the former Dolphins wide receiver, was next to me. He was on my left. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, if you don't know who they are, Google Janet Jackson, Control, Prince. Jimmy Jam was my knees were on his back. He was in the seat in front of me, and Terry Lewis was next, and they came to the game together. 2 rows in front and a couple down, Evander Holyfield. And Donald Trump was in my section for Super Bowl 20, whatever it was. I don't know what game it was.
26.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. So that Super Bowl was my first Super Bowl. We drove out. The game kind of came and went. We drove back up north to the hinterlands to our Super 8. And then we got it the next day and drove all the way. We drove all day home. We left at 7 in the morning. We got home at, midnight the next day. Just all the way back. Got to Pittsburgh. We felt like we made it. But dead of winter with my dear friend John Raffaliti. So that was my first Super Bowl. I don't think I've ever told that whole story in the air. I will say this, that Friday, drove into the city. Keith Mills was covering the Super Bowl for Channel 2. At the time, I was interning for Scott Garceau at Channel 2 and Keith Mills and Jim Halls and Mike Gaffigan. And Keith was at this Radio Row thing, and nobody had ever heard of it. It was a media room at the Hyatt Regency downtown. The Hyatt was the media. Super Bowl Wayne was here, so he's corroborating all of this. There was a little media room, and I met Keith Mills there, and Spiro Maurikas was doing the show. No, Kenny Albert was doing the show. It was before Spiro. Okay. Kenny Albert was doing the show, and I got Keith to call back in. I called in from a payphone. There were no cell phones. I didn't have a cell phone. There were payphones in the lobby.
What's a payphone?
And I called into Kenny's show, and I got Keith Mills to call in to Kenny. It wasn't even my show. I mean, I had been on the radio 4 weeks. My first day on the radio was December 13th, 1991, and this trip was January. Dude, New York in the house. Listen, after the second beer, you kids come over. We'll do some radio, all right? Come on. Yeah, wait till they move the Super Bowl to Denver. You'll see. You'll see. California. You'll see, you kids. But this is my 25th Super Bowl broadcasting, and the first time I ever did anything media-related. I didn't have a media pass, but I was where the media was at the Minneapolis Hyatt. And I participated. I called in from Minneapolis on the show that Friday and did the Nestor's in Minneapolis. Let's go talk to Nestor. And I wasn't even Nasty Nestor then. I was just the Skipjacks guy who was leaving the Sun. Kenny, I'm out here in Minnesota, and I just cashed a big check, and I put it in the bank, and I'm trying to get a job in Appleton, Wisconsin, covering the Packers, and I might move to Anchorage, Alaska, and cover Anchorage hockey, and I'm gonna DJ, and I'll be at what was the name of the joint? It was a pizza joint. It's where I met Joe Enoch. He's gonna shoot me now. It was at Belvedere Square. It was a pizza joint. I forgot the name of it. He's gonna text me now. But either way, so that's my life in 1992, and now in 2018 I'm here, and these kids come by. The Syracuse Mafia, right? Ithaca. Worse. Oh, my God.
Wait.
Ithaca.
Worse?
No, Ithaca.
What are you talking about?
Ithaca was in the Road Trip movie, right? Ithaca. Well, but Ithaca.
Close enough.
These guys partied with Tom Green and the Snake. Unleash the Fury! Yeah, exactly. So Luke's here. Super Bowl Wayne's hanging out. So you glad I told that stupid story?
Yeah.
Is that a good stupid story to begin the week?
It's good to hear that. I was waiting for, and then
you like the part about the boobies. Don't lie.
I was waiting for, like to break to the most exciting part, the climax, and leaving the camera.
Well,
in the
the climax
was
was that the Redskins beat the snot out of the Bills, and I have pictures of me wearing Bills gear in Zubaz with Warren Moon, and I lost the camera on a hill.
The pants you had worn the last 5 days.
All of our Super Bowl coverage is brought to you by Howard Bank, a relentless commitment to be the best at everything they do. They are our presenting sponsor, hence the lid. Although I do have permission from Marianne and everyone there to wear my green Ravens hat once the Eagles fans start. They're going to start showing up, these Eagles fans here, and how obnoxious is this going to be by Thursday? Fly, Eagles, fly. All right, I'm supporting the Eagles, so get off my back, you cheesesteak lovers. Royal Farms, real fresh, real fast, the best fried chicken in Baltimore. I can't get it even here at the Mall of America. We appreciate their sponsorship. They're back with us to give Royal Farms some love. Gas up and get in on that ROFO app and the rewards program. Save some dough. Pizza John's is with us. Luke, anything you want to say about Pizza John's?
Love it. Can't wait to have it again.
All you need to know. 50 years at Back River Neck Road. We'll be talking more about them, and I'll probably be eating the pizza on the air. Maryland Jockey Club and our friends at Laurel also sponsoring all of our work here from Super Bowl 25 for me, 52 for them. I have fast food. We have people in the mall. We have dry air. Dude, my lips are going to chap, and they're going to hurt real bad.
My lips hurt real bad.
They're going to hurt real bad by Wednesday. TheBuyAToyota.com audio vault is there for you 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world on your mobile device. And, of course, the morning newspaper ships directly to your email inbox. That's all brought to you by Planet Fitness. $10 a month, anywhere you are. Get in shape while it's cold, and you'll enjoy it more while you're warm. Last but never least, any breaking news? Luke breaks it. Where's Manny Machado going to end up right now? Tell me.
End up? What do you mean end up? Opening day is going to be with the Orioles, most likely.
And there you have it. There's your breaking news. It's all brought to you by Coons Florida Security Boulevard. Big breaking stories like that you get first on our text service.
The Orioles don't even know. How am I supposed to know?
Once I start drinking, this show's going to get really good this week. I promise you. We're going to go off. I'm going to work blue after hours, I think. Last but never least, nasty at WNST.net finds me. I will be fatigued. We're going to have Hall of Famers. We're going to have Super Bowl Wayne. We're going to talk Orioles. We're going to figure out this Steve Bisciotti press conference before the week's over. We're going to have some fun. Big thanks to all of our sponsors. I got a big announcement I'm making on Friday. Big blog coming out. I haven't written it yet, but I know it's going to be good. What are you laughing at?
It just reminded me of Dan Duquette saying, "We're going to get starting pitching. Don't ask me how."
And he really did say that.
Yeah, he did.
You can listen to that in the BuyAToyota.com audio.
Really good blog. I haven't written it yet, though.
Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube, WNSTV channel. We're just getting started. I'm already loopy. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.